I've got to say, Children of Invention was my favorite film we've seen so far this year. It was very professionally done, the acting was amazing, and it had everything in it. It was heartwarming and funny and sad and suspenseful, and I really enjoyed it from beginning to end. I didn't dislike any of the characters. I thought that the character of Elaine was a little cold, but I also felt pity for her and almost admiration for her because, she was a single mom and she was doing her best to support her kids. But I thought that at the end of the film, she was a little bit unrealistic when she was reunited with her children because, well, let's say if I left my two little kids home alone for 3 days, I'd be a bit more worried about them than she was, more like paranoid about them. And I think that when reunited with them, I wouldn't be like, oh, mommy's back. I'd be like, oh my God, you're still living? You're not dead? Like, I would be a little more frantic and more apologetic. She gets angry at her kids for going to Boston, but kids gotta eat. They thought that she abandoned them. That's why I didn't like her in that scene, but I did like her within the film. I liked her character. I thought that she was a good mother, but she had to deal with a deadbeat husband, and she worked so hard for her kids. The acting was incredible, but I was especially impressed with the character of Tina. For a really little kid to be able to put that much emotion into the film and memorize all those lines is truly exceptional. And besides the fact that she's one of the most adorable little kids I've ever seen in my life, the actress is so convincing. And the actor who played Raymond was able to go through typical naive little kid to mature older brother whose little sister's life is in his hands, and he did it so well. The soundtrack really set the mood for the whole film. Instead of, using a depressing soundtrack where, it's about a struggling family, the director chose to use a soundtrack in which it was more upbeat and more positive. It worked well because the film wasn't meant to be some depressing Lifetime movie. The director was definitely my favorite thus far. He was really funny and gave a lot of useful information about the film. And it was really interesting that the film was semi-autobiographical and almost based on his childhood. And he even went to pyramid scheme meetings as a little boy with his mom and his little sister. He went through 100 to 150 titles for the film, and the original title for the film were The Kids Are Alright. But the Chinese translation of that is Nothing Happened to the Kids. So he changed it to Children of Invention, which I personally love because it's a very clever title. After seeing the movie, I understand where that fits in, and I think it works really well. And he did a great job with casting the two kids. He actually found them through the casting director from Transformers 2 because I fell in love with them immediately. But if you don't like the two kids, then you're probably not going to like the movie. So since those two kids are just so lovable and such good actors, he made the right decision by choosing those actors.